In episode 2, Bradley ends up meeting with Cory in the hotel bar, and it's not lost on her that she's meeting with the head of a studio at a hotel bar on the heels of sexual harassment allegations. But he puts her mind at ease and says, hey, I understand this what it looks like, but I only sleep with people that want to sleep with me. But it becomes clear pretty early on that Bradley is not here to exchange pleasantries, and she's very upfront about everything. To the point where Cory says, do you treat every single business meeting like a war? And she says, well, every business meeting is. And the problem is she still hasn't gotten her answer on what she's doing there. And finally, Cory tells her, I want you to be a part of the morning show, but you've got some issues in your past. She cuts him off right there and says, I can explain Two Fucks Jackson. And he says, Two Fucks what? Because Cory had no idea about this story. And she says, I'll explain later. Cory proceeds on to tell her that she'll have a meeting tomorrow with Chip Black, the morning show producer, at 9:30 and to be prepared for it. And even after all this, her guard is still up. Now, the next day, Alex arrives at the office, and everyone's trying to prepare for the speech that she has, but all she's concerned about is her contract. And as soon as she gets in her dressing room, she calls her agent. She asks, do you think the fact that the network is stalling is their way of trying to push me out? And the agent is honest with her and says, it's not the best sign in the world, but right now we have them by the balls. But Alex is still stressed out and demands that her agent get the deal done as soon as possible, but also get everything they're demanding, including co-host approval, which the network has no interest in doing. But Alex isn't the only one that is stressed out in the office. This includes the fill-in co-host Yanko Flores, who's usually the meteorologist, but now is doing the fill-in job of Mitch. And he's stressed out because he is dating Claire, the PA, the same PA that found Bradley Jackson. And they have a consensual relationship going on, but because of these allegations, he's concerned that the optics are not good. And when he kind of pushes Claire away, she gets a little put off by this. But you can totally understand his hesitation. Now, right before the show actually is going to go live on air, Fred and Cory meet with the staff to kind of put the fear of God into the staff. Fred really spearheads the meeting and gives an update on the sexual harassment allegations, but then says how important it is that they have a good show because May sweeps are coming up. And they've already lost plenty of ad dollars to their competition. Fred does the whole boss thing where you say, if you can't do it, we'll find somebody who can, and is once again trying to put the fear of God into these people. But Cory is behind his back just nodding and saying, no, that's not true, and kind of trying to put the staff at ease. When the meeting wraps up, Cory and Fred end up having a private conversation, and Fred tells Cory that we have to have a plan together to get Alex off the show. But Billy assures him that that's already in the works. Fred tells him that when we put you in this position, and I'll remind you, less than a month ago, we had no idea we'd be facing the toughest crisis in this station's history. But Cory shoots back, well, some people would say that you should have. Fred gives him a death stare and says, I know what you're doing, and the fact that you just started here doesn't give you leverage right now. And Cory very calmly says, I'm not looking for leverage, Fred. I'm just stating the obvious. It would have been better if we knew, so we could have stopped it, but we didn't know. Right? And this is a very accusatory right. Now, right before the show, Chip is running around doing about 50 different things, and Cory comes to him and says, hey, you're going to have a meeting with Bradley Jackson at 9:30. But Chip is kind of thrown. He doesn't understand why he would even waste his time having a meeting with Bradley Jackson. Cory explains to her that he wants her to interview for a correspondent job, and you got to spice things up here to boost the ratings. Chip asks him, do you have any idea how many people saw that video? And Cory says, yeah, exactly. I know how many people saw that video. This is entertainment, so meet with her at 9:30. But suddenly another issue occurs, because right before she's going to go on air, Alex finds out that the network is not going to give in on co-host approval. And Alex has had enough, and she says, I'm not going to go on air. Her and Chip continue to play this game of chicken, and Alex wants him to promise her that she will get co-host approval, as if Chip has that power. She's telling those around her to get ready for someone to sit in that chair because it won't be her, and Chip is telling her, I can't promise you this. I don't have that power. But finally, Alex ends up winning out just in the nick of time, and Chip caves, saying, I promise to get you co-host approval. And Alex goes on air, and the country has no idea what happened just 20 seconds beforehand. Now, after the Yanko Flores disaster of the previous day, he's back to weather, and they needed somebody to fill in for Mitch's chair, and they went to Daniel Henderson. Now, Daniel Henderson is a guy who is very intelligent, but feels like he's being misused on the morning show. He's black, he's gay, he's being sent to cover things like Gossip Girl the musical, but he didn't come here for that, and he wants that chair. He meets with Chip afterwards to discuss why he isn't already in that chair, and Chip says, look, man, if you want some advice, you got to be more likable. Which is ironic because that's the same advice that Bradley Jackson got. But he says, you know what people liked about Mitch? The fact that they could envision sitting next to Mitch in the DMV and just having a normal conversation with him. He was like the everyman. At first, Daniel takes this as an insult, but cooler heads end up prevailing, and Chip tells him, go to this award show tonight. Go to this award show tonight, rub some elbows, and just be likable, and you could, in fact, get this chair. Now, Mitch is having to transition from one meeting to another, and this time it's with Bradley Jackson, but he doesn't want to do it. And unfortunately for Bradley Jackson, she has no idea about this. So she comes in there with ideas, but Chip doesn't want to hear any of them. He cuts her off and says, "Are you trying to be a correspondent or a producer? Because now I'm confused." And she says, "Well, I like to do both." So she continues to pitch him ideas, but it's obvious in this meeting that Chip is not really there. He's answering emails, he's getting interrupted, and on top of it, he's not really listening to Bradley or any of her ideas, he's just nixing them. And since Bradley isn't one to sugarcoat things, she takes it as an insult and goes after Chip, saying, "You had no questions about these stories, you weren't even interested in them." And Chip is shocked and says, are you serious right now? Yeah, this meeting's over. Chip tries to walk out, but Bradley is following him, telling him how shitty the morning show is. Finally, Chip threatens to get security to remove her, and she says, "Listen to your last couple of stories that you had today. How many ice cream flavors are there? 2 twins that met on Tinder. Your show sucks. You need real news." And then she storms out of the place. And she's ready to leave town and go back to West Virginia, but before she does, she gets a call from Cory's assistant, and the assistant tells her that Cory is requesting her to be at this award ceremony for Alex that night. And this throws her for a loop because she says, "That meeting that I just had went terribly." And the assistant tells her, "Look, all I know is that we're sending you gowns over, so I would be there if I were you." So Bradley pulls a U-turn and goes right back into the hotel. But while it seems the morning show is in shambles, it's not all bad news, because Hannah, the head booker, has been able to track down a Mitch accuser, and the Mitch accuser was originally going to go on their competition, but Hannah convinced her to actually come on the morning show. She told her that if you go on the competition, it's going to look like you're a scorned lover, but if you go onto this show, the morning show, you're coming into Mitch Kessler's house, and you are accusing him of something that is reprehensible. It will look like you are a strong woman instead of somebody who's just trying to get even. Now, speaking of Mitch, he has met with his financial advisor who says you're not going to get paid for a while. They're not paying your contract. There's a morality clause in your contract that they're exercising, so you need to scale back a bit. And Mitch is puzzled. He goes, "I have more money than God." But the issue is, yes, you have more money than God. You also have 3 homes, 3 mortgages, a lavish lifestyle. You don't want to give up your apartment in New York. The financial advisor lets him know you can live like this for maybe 2 years, and then you're going to have to go work at Trader Joe's. So Mitch is obviously stressed out and starts losing his mind over this morality clause. He says, you don't want to be the dickhead who says, "No, take out the morality clause," but then they'll use it any way they want to not pay you. I mean, what is a morality clause after all? So he is enraged, but he's got a party to go to because he still plans on going to this award ceremony for his former co-host Alex tonight. And that day he gets a visit from his former producer Chip, who is begging him not to go. But Mitch tells him, you have 2 choices when this happens. You can either sit back and wait for these allegations to come and do nothing, or you can attack it. And I'm planning on attacking it. And Chip says, stop. Stop trying to contact every journalist in the area to get your story out. This isn't going to blow over in a day. This is going to blow over in years. So you're just going to have to wait. And while I don't agree with your situation right now, because I feel like guys are just simply being punished for years of misconduct and the court of public opinion is too quick to judge without hearing the other side of it, it's simply the day and age that we live in. So don't come to the event tonight because it's not going to be a good look for you or us. But this plea falls on deaf ears, and Mitch says, my suit's pressed and I'm coming. And I'm going to look every single reporter in the eye who trashed me and didn't ask for my side on anything. So Mitch is planning on heading to this event. And obviously so is Alex, but she doesn't want to go. She wants to play sick. She's confiding in her family that she doesn't want to do this. But when it comes time to get on the red carpet, she puts on a great face and a good smile. And you'd never know there was an issue. So pretty much everybody in the industry is there, including Cory. And right before the event, Chip finds Cory and tells him how bad the meeting with Bradley Jackson went. But Cory doesn't really say much. He just kind of nods. Because unbeknownst to Chip, Bradley is coming at the behest of Cory. And no one, including Bradley for that matter, knows what she's doing there. So Cory sees her and starts ushering her over to her seat, which ironically is at the UBA table. And this throws everybody for a loop. And to make it worse, she's going to be sitting right next to Alex. And obviously those two didn't have the best first meeting. At one point she turns to Alex and says, "I don't even know why I'm here." And Alex just kind of gives her a smirk and says, "Yeah, that makes 2 of us." Alex is taking it as an insult. Now Alex and Bradley end up actually running into each other in the women's room. And Alex tells her, "You're being played right now. They're putting you here to make me worried about my job." And Bradley says, "Yeah, it's really awkward for me." And Alex cuts her off and says, "Well, if it's so awkward, why don't you leave? You're an adult. Leave. If it's so awkward for you, get out." And Bradley says, "I'm not you. All right, I don't have the ability to go tell a head of a network to go fuck himself. And after Alex walks out of the bathroom, she sees Cory Ellison. And she says, I'm going to tell you right now, I need co-host approval or I'm walking. And Cory doesn't blink and says, okay, well, if you have to do that, then you have to do that. The conversation gets pretty heated, and it ends with Cory telling her, by the way, we bought this award for you. So at this point, Alex is pissed off and hurt. She gets up at the award ceremony to accept her award. And right before she does so, she says, everybody get your phones out because I'm going to announce the new co-anchor of the morning show. It is Bradley Jackson, to the surprise of everybody in the room, including Bradley. Oh, and if you're wondering where Mitch was this entire time, he wisely decided to stay in the car and not show up. So here's the part where I beg you guys to like this video, subscribe to the channel. There's a button in the top left corner there. And if you don't see the next video for this recap, not to worry, it'll be up soon. And thanks for watching.